Donald Trump just keeps raising these questions and problems. And by the way, anyone who's going to denigrate America or Americans should never represent America and Americans. And I think the fact, Donald Trump wants to talk about that, but so many things, he hasn't really done anything. What did he do? He talks a good game about how we need to worry about this and worry about that, and we all do worry about it. But he views it in such a way, what's good for him, what's good for Donald Trump and his billionaire cronies.
It is the last day of the Democratic National Convention. Headline appearance, big appearance by Kamala Harris. Last night, the vice presidential runner pick, Tim Walz, backed his partner to get the job done.
You know, you might not know it, but I haven't given a lot of big speeches like this. But I have given a lot of pep talks. So let me finish with this, team. It's the fourth quarter. We're down a field goal, but we're on offense and we've got the ball. We're driving down the field. And boy, do we have the right team. Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced, and Kamala Harris is ready.
That was the man they call Coach, the vice presidential running mate Tim Walz, showing why. And this was part of the surprise appearance from Oprah Winfrey.
When a house is on fire, we don't ask about the homeowner's race or religion. We don't wonder who their partner is or how they voted. No, we just try to do the best we can to save them. And if the place happens to belong to a childless cat lady, well, we try to get that cat out too.
That's Oprah Winfrey. Let's now talk to Susan Platt from Chicago, former chief of staff to Joe Biden. Hello to you, Susan.
Greetings from the DNC in Chicago.
Lovely to have you here with us, Susan. And I've no doubt you're going to be cheering along with the rest of them this evening when Kamala Harris does what she's going to do. Is it for you, though, in some ways maybe a bittersweet moment? Joe Biden had to make way to bring about this transformation in the mood of the party and the state of the race, didn't he?
Well, he's been a great president. He was a great boss. And he's a great American. Like he said in his speech, he gave America his best, and he did, and we all should. But in terms of this moment, I kind of view it like I'm viewing it right now, in the sense that he get passed the torch to the next generation. I'm here with my granddaughter to pass the torch to her generation. And unlike Bill Clinton, I've been going to conventions since 1980, not as far back as he has, but I've rarely seen any such excitement and joy and happiness and everybody talking to each other, everybody hugging each other. It's incredible. It's something you just can't bottle.
Yeah, well, it's quite a transformation from where we were just a couple of weeks ago. I was with the Republicans in Milwaukee, and what a change.
I'm sorry.
What a change since then we have seen. But it's not over yet. There's a long way still to run. In your judgment, as a veteran observer and an advisor of experience, what are the boxes that Kamala Harris still needs to check? What are the challenges she needs to meet in this speech tonight, especially, but from here on in?
Well, I think she's already met or exceeded everything that we had hoped for with her nomination. I think she's going to lay out, and she will, in a very prosecuting way, our freedoms are at stake, what freedoms they are. Our livelihoods are at stake, who we love, who we worship. And really the freedoms that this country fought for nearly 250 years ago are really in danger. And as Joe Biden said, we're looking for the soul of the country to hold on to it. This is not a time to waste our time. It's time, as Michelle Obama said, do something, go out there and do everything you can. And part of having a convention is to unite your base and get them excited.
Yeah, sure.
I think not only have we united our base very quickly, and are we excited, but I think the country as a whole. I talked to my neighbors who never really were that much involved in politics, and coming off the pandemic, everybody has been in such a deep depression. They're now feeling the joy. They're now looking forward to the future. It's just an incredible moment here in this country.
But although with With great respect, Susan, I mean, you cannot say that all the boxes have been ticked off yet. If that were the case, the election would already be as good as won, and it's not. And the opinion
It's
poll,
not.
the opinion poll, so it's very close. You still need to win over more people in the unpredictable months that remain. We know a bit about Kamala Harris as the vice president. We know very little about her as a potential president. She still has to prove that she's the person for that job. I wonder how she goes about doing that.
Well, as Democrats, we're always hand wringers. So we will wring our hands every day and from now until November 5th. But she has begun to lay out some policies and principles of her campaign and what she views America in the future that will see us through, I think, to November 5th. It is all in the margins. Politics is about timing, who you're running against, and the margins. And really, the country is very divided. Absolutely, no doubt, it always will be. But we're talking about margins here. And I think we have ignited some sort of spark here that has engaged so many, from my young great-granddaughter at 7 to people in their 80s again, to get involved. And this is something that we felt with Barack Obama and Joe Biden in 2008. But in some ways, I feel it's even more so now, because we did break the barrier of electing a black man. Now we're going to elect a woman of color, a first time. Now, your country has had prime ministers that have been women. We've never had a leader of our country who's a woman. And it's just so exciting for all of us. When the white dudes get involved, you got something going.
Yeah, look, you're at the Democrat convention. You're a Democrat. You're doing your bit. And I recognize your enthusiasm is completely genuine. But there are still lots of questions which I think the American voter, I respectfully suggest as a foreigner on the other side of the Atlantic, still have a right to hear answers for. I'll mention a couple. When it comes to the economy, questions on the economy, it's still this policy, without getting too lost in the weeds, but Kamala Harris is standing by the promise to put a lid on grocery prices. Now, do you understand how that's going to work, whether it's going to work? Because I don't. Do you?
I don't understand how it's going to work. I think that's the reason we have to look for electing more Democrats in the Senate and the House, because I think she has some ideas. I think a lot of our great Democratic leaders have the ideas to do it, and they want to do it. That's the difference. You've seen
but
couple
we don't know
of years
how.
here in Congress.
We don't know how, Susan,
well,
do we?
She's talking about giving a tax break. She's talking about giving more child credits. They're talking about helping to pay more for college education, job training, opening up opportunities. Joe Biden has opened up so many opportunities with the Build Back Better and infrastructure. We're going to open more and more opportunities.
But those
I think.
things, all of those things are distinct from a price cap. There's another big question, which is the question of the border. I know that you blame Donald Trump for impeding the measure which took some action on the border. I know that. You need not repeat that. There's still, though, an enormous problem of potentially vast numbers of people keen and able to cross the border, and not a clear way of dealing with that. Now, I know there are plans, but they're not a clear way of dealing with that in the way that the American people are hoping for and that they are being promised is going to be done.
Let me just first remind you that the immigration policy on the border is more secure now than it was under Donald Trump, and fewer and fewer immigrants coming. And the fact of the matter is, Donald Trump just keeps raising these questions and problems. And by the way, anyone who's going to denigrate America or Americans should never represent America and Americans. And I think the fact that, Donald Trump wants to talk about that, but so many things, he hasn't really done anything. What did he do? He talks a good game about how we need to worry about this and worry about that. And we all do worry about it. But he views it in such a way, what's good for him, what's good for Donald Trump and his billionaire cronies. And that's all he's worried about. We're worried about average, everyday, hardworking Americans.
And I know it's going to be part of the picture this evening that Kamala Harris is a creature of what you in America call the middle class, what we in this country tend to think of more as the working class, or those less well off. Look, these rehearsals, everything I see and everything that I hear tells me that Kamala Harris and her team see this tonight's speech as being absolutely crucial. They've been rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing again. You'll know a bit about that kind of work. If you were there, just give us some sort of idea, those of us who aren't in the room, what sort of work will be going on in those rehearsals? What are the bits of the Kamala Harris act that they'll be sharpening up if they can?
Well, I think you're right. They will talk a little bit more about policy. But remember, those of us who watch this every day know about Kamala Harris. There's a whole lot of Americans who are just beginning to tune in, and they don't. So she has to lay the groundwork of who she, even though she's been vice president, it's vice, not president. So she's been behind the president.
And what's going to be going on in those rehearsals?
Well, that's what this is going to be about. The authentic Kamala Harris and what she wants to pry as the future of Virginia. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I think I've been operating on 2 hours sleep all week long.
Well, thanks for joining.
How she views us. It's she will be strong, and every opportunity since Joe Biden passed the torch, she has lived up to or exceeded expectations. She has truly grown into this campaign, this candidacy, and I think that's what I would portray to her: is keep being yourself, keep talking about all of us together and what we all want to accomplish in the future, and get out of the doldrums, get out of the gloom, the hate, the divisiveness, and let's work together for a great future.
What does she need to improve? Where can she sharpen things up?
Boy, I think she's doing a great job, and I think.
But there's always room for improvement, isn't there? I wonder what she can improve.
There's always room for improvement, and I do think you're right. We do need to come out with some more policy positions, more specific ones, but that will come with time. Now is the time to introduce who she is. She's auntie. You saw it last night. I mean, I can't even remember all the people that were on the stage last night talking about the Kamala Harris, the person, how warm she is, how she loves to cook, who she is, about her husband and her blended family, which so many of us are a part of. I think she needs to keep portraying who she is and keep elevating herself and the country and Coach Walz.
Okay. Robert F. Kennedy, the independent candidate. I know he's got a very low level of support, but in a tight race, small numbers matter. What will be the effect if, as is widely supposed, Robert F. Kennedy withdraws from this presidential race, maybe tomorrow?
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's going to have a whole lot of effect. We had one pathway to victory with Joe Biden. There's a group of folks. All we had to do is move about 3 percentage points of those who have not always voted every election cycle. I think we have that. Donald Trump has a ceiling. I think we've all seen that. We just need to maintain where we were and increase on those folks who are not every time voters. And I think, we just have to keep working and reaching out and doing that. Donald Trump is losing. If you had a candidate like J.D. Vance running with you, I'm sorry, and your former vice president who won't even support you, you've got problems. They've been on the defensive. It's going to get nasty. It's going to get difficult. It's going to get closer. But ultimately, I think what we have is the enthusiasm and the hope and the joy that will get people out.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of enthusiasm and hope and joy this evening when Kamala Harris is on stage. Listening to you, Susan, you sound very confident indeed. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Kamala Harris is going to be the next president of the United States?
Well, again, I'm a Democrat, so I worry about everything, and I never take anything for granted. I've been involved in too many close races. How confident am I? I would say as long as we all stay focused and do our jobs and work as hard as we can, I'm pretty darn confident.
Okay, I'm going to press you on this just because it's a sort of clear answer that pleases me. So forgive me if I seem persistent. Can you quantify that on a scale of 1 to 10? How confident are you?
Well, anything, 24 hours could be like 10 years in the campaign. Anything could happen. You cannot take anything for granted. If it keeps going the way it is, we all were worried about maintaining the momentum. The momentum hasn't slowed. It has dramatically increased like a snowball every single day. So if we keep going that way, there are always going to be mistakes. It's how you recover from those mistakes. If we do all that, I'm at a 10.
You're 10. You're 10 out of 10 confident. You simply cannot see any way back for Donald Trump to get his second term.
I said if we do all that I said,
okay.
I'm pretty darn confident.
All right. So if you get into an invincible position, you won't be beaten. That is a bit of a truism. However, I'm not going to push for any more than that. Susan Platt, pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.